Coming to Africa, it's a life mission for me. I always knew that I would come to Africa. I grew up during the Civil Rights Movement. There was a lot of different dynamics, but multiple directions and different forms of consciousness about being black, being Negro, being colored, independence, and still slavery. So I grew up on that consciousness, but spiritually I grew up on a really strong spiritual foundation because of my grandmother. So with that combination, along with, her opening the doors of education for Africa, for the things and people, kings and leaders of Africa at that time when I was a child, a lot of different dimensions all together I'm learning at one time. So I grew up with that type of consciousness, and I believed in it. Grandma also instilled the fact that because of the cycle that human beings were going in, destruction, as the Bible says, was coming, and it was coming to America. It said Babylon, and she called it the Millennium Days. Well, ironically enough, here we are. Here we are. These are the things that she shared. I believed in it. So, my consciousness was land. Like, where is it that we could be or would be? Because the Bible says that we would be led, to a place. The children of God would be. So that was in my consciousness. I tried to get a record deal. Based on that, I felt that the money, the finances that I could accumulate in a record deal and publishing, I could buy an island. And I knew that my family, you don't need police for my family. My family governed themselves. We know how to get along with one another, we know how to balance, respect. So our family didn't need police. So I knew that all we needed was land. If we had land, then we could live, children under the kingdom, under God, in peace. We had already been taught spirituality, even though a lot of it was backwards. But it's still balanced out morality. It still was compatible with our morality. So that spirituality worked. So that's what my mind and my heart was. I was based in that. And the Bible said that you got to get out of Babylon. Grandmom already confirmed that these catastrophes and this upheaval of society was going to happen. So stay close to the Lord. So in staying close to the Lord, I realized in politics who I am, as far as corporations, as far as my identification, what type of citizen I am. I had to learn all of that to understand what the Bible and Christ was talking about, our independence, our sovereignty, our oneness, and being under the jurisdiction of God and not the jurisdiction of man. Meaning like corporations or governmental policies like that. We don't have policies. We have rules of life, which is under God. So anyway, long story short, that's what brought me to Africa, because it was where I knew that type of independence was possible. Whether it existed or not, I knew there it was possible because of the laws, constitutions, and policies, and the sovereignty of the people. I believed in that, so I took a chance. When the opportunity came to come to Africa, my daughter used to ask me, well, Dad, how are you going to obtain this land? And according to the Bible, I told her, we're to inherit the land. And that's exactly what happened when I came to Africa. I inherited the land. And that's a long story. But it's according to writing. It's according to the law. Everything in my life has been significant, has been a confirmation. My name, Charles Patrick Gibbs, what it means. When I was born, July 27th. All of these numbers and birth dates and historical events line up. So here I am in Africa, and I came based on faith. No savings, no social security, no investments, no, did I say savings? Right, no job. It was on faith. It was knowing that this is where God wanted me to be, according to. And here I am for 5 years now, without any of those things I just named. Now, you know that's an impossibility, almost, to try to survive. And it's been one day at a time. I loved singing this song in church. We have come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed yet. That's the song the whole 5 years I've been here, not singing it, living it. I've learned an incredible amount of things about life, reality of life, spirituality, real spirituality and not religion. Ooh, and pretentiousness and hypocrisy. Oh, how much I've learned about minerals, you know what I mean? Like ilmenite, magnetite, you know, these incredible knowledge about myself, about life. Anyway, all this lines up with the promise of the Hebrews. We've been called many names down the line, but you gotta hook it to something. You see what I'm saying? That has some truth in its roots. So Hebrew is like, you know, one of the mainstays, so to speak. It's like saying Jesus. Everyone understands what you're saying, even though that's not his name. So here I am in Khartoum, Gambia, and being here 5 years in faith, inheriting land, two properties. Thank God I inherited. And it's with the relationships that I established with the people here. When I first met Solomon, it was at an event at the opening for a music center for youth. Well, really for anyone, but aimed at youth. I believed in that, so together we met at this grand opening, and this is where I met Solomon. And immediately when he met me, he said, "You are very spiritual here. You are under the Star of David." And I'm looking at this guy. How did he doesn't know anything about me? So how does he know just by looking at me what the spirituality is behind, you know, my DNA, which is the line of Abraham. But he didn't know that. I could have been any tribe, but he knew that right away. We formed a bond. He invited me to Khartoum. That's where I met him. Took me to this spiritual pond. They call it the Alligator Pond, where healing, all manner of spiritual powers flow through there. I've learned a lot about the unseen, but that is real. All these things have been incorporated in my life. Every talisman that I wear is from a family or a doctor, or, you know, a power of knowledge and frequency in life I've learned since I've been here. So I carry the people and their identification. This is my electromagnetic rod. I've learned about these kinds of things since I've been here, about the life that you cannot see, but that is effectual every day. It's coppers, magnets, and minerals like ilmenite, mineral stones, and magnetite. But anyway, I've learned all these things within this 5 years. David, speaking of David, giant killer. That's why my, so to speak, stage name or tag name is Smooth Stones. It said that Smooth Stones is what killed the giant. And there's a lot of giants in so-called black people's lives that we've had to conquer with small items, but powerful. So Smooth Stone was my choice. So the last giant that I felt that I was dealing with when I come to Africa was the poverty giant. Like, what is that all about? Like, poor. What is poor? Do we really know what poor is? And I had to dance with that for a minute and really realize what it was. so I cut the U.S. type of situation off, and it was just about here with no job, no savings, no income, no Social Security, and was faced with that. And the Spirit helped me to focus on what is my value. What do I have that's worth anything? And the conclusion was me. It's me that's worth something. So if I want to eat, I'm going to have to increase the value in me, or in being me is worth enough to me to feed me. Okay, being me was worth enough to me and to someone else to feed me. You feel me? Yeah, that's deep. That's getting real deep in about what value is. So it was an internal ministry I shared with Fatima. Here's a formula. It's called the road through poverty. And it was learning to go from nothing, absolutely nothing, to wealth based on the value of self. Fatima thought I was, wow, nuts. Like, how in the world? And we set out that day with nothing. There was nothing in the refrigerator, nothing in cupboards, nothing in our pocket. And we set out with an acoustic guitar. And long story short, by the time we returned, we had eaten and were eating. And by miraculous ways, we set out. In fact, the first junction we came to, there were children that we had marched and sang with. We made up a song, created a song, and we marched through the streets here with the children and sang it, called We Are the Power. So these children saw us this day at the end of the junction. They called us over. Come. Play guitar. I said, you want us to sing? They was like, yeah. So we started singing for these children. And these children laid like $100 seed at our feet. Children, you hear me? I'm telling you, we start to step with absolutely nothing. Children in the hood, in the kingdom, in the village, laid dollar seeds at our feet. You hear me? Because we shared music with them. So that was the beginning of this poverty road. And I have to say, I thank God for today that our value, our internal value, is such here. We never have to worry about what we want to eat, sleep, or be. Our value, our self-value, has been such with the people and in relationship, a bond established so much with the people. It would take me a long time to tell you how I increased our value. But the answer is, in doing that, I'll never ever be poor. I'll never be, I would say that I will never be poor again. Because I found out what real value is and what money is. All of these terms, I've realized and discovered what those things are. But the most important is what I am, what we are, and what we can do with that value. That is right now my journey. Is that our independence, our value, who controls our tomorrow, eating, sleeping, functioning, who controls that and by what means? And that's got to be an answer that's important to each and every one of us. You can't take that for granted, because you can make decisions wherein someone else has control of that. How and when you're going to eat, or when you're going to buy food, or when you're going to travel and not travel, or when you can take meds and not take meds, when you can retire and not retire. Someone controlling your decision making in your life. Who knows better than you? I'm signing off. This is Lucky Smooth Stuff.